Hello, my name is Keith Hubbard with True Principles, and I'm here to share some more really powerful principles with you today about your life and your relationships. But understand they will only change your life as long as you are willing to implement them. So today's principle is on what I call the myth of you complete me. And I'm sorry, but Jerry Maguire has planted a seed in our minds that is actually encouraging discontent and pain in our life and relationships. I know it's the most romantic idea, right? Our hearts melted when we saw that scene in Jerry Maguire. But it's that idea of someone else completing us is broken and needs to shift and change if we want to create wealth and prosperity in our life and relationships. So I mean, this shows up in other ways too. We hear other people say, "Oh, well, let me go ask my better half," right? It's even present in those kinds of sayings, and I don't like that in and of itself. This is a whole nother quick tangent here, but to self-deprecating ideas and beliefs that there's someone who's better than us, this idea of comparison, is also going to keep you stuck. So if you're saying that, stop. Acknowledge your own worth and your value, and we'll get into this other half component here in a second. So this idea that someone else completes us is literally a representation of this. You are an incomplete person seeking out another incomplete person. And when we come together, this is why intimate relationships, when we first meet people and we're dating, and there's so much excitement, because we're literally gaining our fulfillment and our joy and our peace and our power and our fulfillment and trust in ourselves. We're getting that met from the other person, and that's why things feel so amazing. But this is also why things after a while start to fizzle out, and why passion in relationships starts to die down, because when we engage in a relationship that's based on need, you got to understand that if you are an incomplete person seeking for another person that's incomplete to complete yourselves, that relationship is based on need, and you are in a codependent relationship. So when relationships are based on need, the result of that is that all interactions at that point are based on taking to fulfill ourselves. And whenever we're basing our interactions off of taking, meaning we're always receiving from other people, not in the sense that they're always giving it, but oftentimes we're manipulating that, then that continues to create discontent. So here's a really great example that I love to share about this in my own life. 6 months or so ago, I had a bad day, and I came home and I was feeling very incomplete. And I went up to my wife and I gave her a hug and a kiss, and I told her that I loved her. Now this is what's tricky. This is where the self-deception in our lives really creates a lot of drama, and where we create these massive illusions. So in that moment, I'm telling myself I'm giving my wife love in this moment. But it's not about what we do. It's why we do it that creates the results in our life. So in that moment, my intention really was not to give my wife love and affection. It was actually to gain validation for what I was missing because of my bad day at work. And so I go up and I give her a hug and a kiss, and I tell her I love her, and I could tell that the energy was off. And she could tell that something was off, but she couldn't tell. I mean, because in her mind, the results in her life in that moment were saying, well, my husband's giving me a hug and a kiss. But she could tell that something was off. And of course, I get offended because she didn't really reciprocate that in the moment. And that was my clue in that moment that I actually wasn't giving. That was my clue that I was expecting to receive. In other words, I was unconsciously manipulating that situation to get something from her. In other words, I was taking, because in that moment my relationship with her was based on need. So I hope you're seeing how this can create all kinds of drama and pain in your life, and where we hopefully how we can get out of this now. So I want you to just consider, I'll do another video later next week on what's the alternative. But consider that if you are going into your relationships expecting something in return, that you're actually taking. You're in this mode of taking, and nobody enjoys to feel taken from. We would all prefer to give to the people that we love rather than having them take from us. So consider these principles. How is this shown up? And again, this is not just about life. Not just about relationships. This is about all aspects of life. It's a powerful thing about principles is they have application over all parts of our life as long as we understand the root components of principles. So ponder on that. How is this affecting not just your relationships, but maybe your career? Maybe you own a business and maybe it's not functioning well. And consider, how are you maybe taking right now in those dynamics, in those realms, where you could actually start giving and change that dynamic in that relationship where it's not based on need any longer. So I hope this serves you. Please check out my website at true-principles.com. We have live events every month. Would love for you to come get some free training. Check it out. It's on the sidebar on this side. We have great video freemiums and training as well. Lots of free content available. Check me out on Facebook as well, True Principles, or my private profile, Keith Hubbard. Would love to engage with you and to watch your life grow and expand. Hope this has served you. And remember, prosperity is always your choice. Take care.